close are you guys to cracking one open and getting a win?
It's hard to put your finger on it, but I think it's about the way we go, and that's the challenge in AFL footy is just being consistent in that space with our, probably what fell away last week was a bit around the contest, minus 27, which that hasn't been a factor for us, but it was all in really the second half. So from that point of view, we want to make sure that our brand and the way we're growing as a team continues. We just let ourselves down a little bit in the game there. So, but there's been improvement, which is great.
Do you think the coach, Skipper coming back and Huey Green, that helps dramatically in that
It
area
does.
straight away?
Well, and it helps with experience as well, a young group. And sometimes when you find lose your way a little bit in a game and momentum goes against you, and that probably showed in the second half. I think we had 15 or 16 inside 50s in the second half, which it's not going to trouble anyone. So I think just with some of that momentum in the game, I think with Jai and Huey coming back in will help.
Do you think the nourishment that you could potentially get from a win, like how beneficial could that be for the club?
It's be huge. But it's just as important to keep improving, whether you win, lose or draw. So from a club point of view, we watch our VFL team win by nearly 10 goals. We're getting some improvement across the board. It's not just at AFL level, it's at VFL as well. So when you look at our team and our squad, we're taking some small steps and some wins along the way.
Just wanted to ask about the midfield mix that we've seen, particularly last week and a bit in your time, Will Phillips, George Wardlaw and Harry Sheasel at set of bounces at crucial times. Do you try to continue that this week, or with Jai and you coming back, do you sort of mix them back through?
I think it's allowing everyone to play their role, and if the rotations are there and it's a young bloke and not an older bloke, well, he gets exposure, and that's what we want. We want to find out about our younger players, and we want to expose them to some, I suppose, challenging situations. Now, this week with Bontempelli, Liberatore, McRae, Treloar, like the star-studded midfield, and for our boys to go against them, it's great learnings for them, and it's just going to help their career.
Do you try and plug Liam Shields into another role this week? He's been pretty effective recently, but which one do you choose? Yeah,
that's right. That's a challenge, or do we do something a little bit different? But Liam's played some really good football. He's got a wise head on him, and he can do multiple roles, which is great.
Nick Larkey, 5-year deal. Did he best pick 73 of all time?
Yeah, be close. What was Hurd?
90.
Yeah, I reckon Ryan Houlihan, he was about 81 or something, but he's a great late pick, and they're the great stories about somebody or all the teams overlooking you, and then you get your opportunity, and that's what our great game is. It doesn't matter if you pick 176 or a rookie. You get an opportunity, and all you need is an opportunity to get on a list and play, and there's been some great stories throughout the AFL over years.
What does a 5-year extension mean to not only him but also the footy club?
I think it allows us, when you've got your key pillars in place, it allows you to structure up, and we know that we've got Nick for 5 years and hopefully more, but we can build the team around him playing the focal point in our front half, and it just allows us to get on with something to add to it. We don't have to worry about that piece, that's done, and we can move on to find someone else that can help and improve our footy club.
You touched on it earlier, but how do you look at the first half of the year, and while the wins haven't necessarily come holistically, you have all these young players re-signing to commit to the future. How do you assess the first half of the year?
I think when you break it down, you probably break it down into patches. The first 3 or 4 weeks, and then into the next block, and then the last 4 weeks. So we've probably been inconsistent, but I think we've found out a lot about ourselves and our group, and where we want to go to. So yes, we haven't seen the wins, and they haven't come. There hasn't been a lot, but what we can see is we know where we're going, and there's a lot of clarity around that with roles and the players and what our KPIs are and what we're trying to do as a team. So I don't think there's too much confusion. I think everybody can see it, and now we're starting to get a little bit of benefits with it. Some consistent performances, but not 4 quarters, and that's what we need.
You're hopeful that LDU would play this week?
Yeah, we sort of were, but sort of on the Monday, and just wasn't quite where we wanted to be. And then we've got the bye coming up. So do you take the risk? And it's sort of like, no, we don't need to take the risk. And if we were playing next week, he would have played, but we're not. So, yeah, went the conservative approach.
I know you don't know for sure. After the bye, does that feel like a good time potentially for Al to come back?
No idea.
Are you hopeful that he'll be back soon?
What I am sure of is when he's ready to come back and he's right to come back, he can come back anytime he wants. That's the big one for all of us. Just when he's right. So whether it's after the bye, after the home and away, he's coming back, but just when he's right, and we don't need to lean and put pressure on him any way, shape or form. So I want him to come back when he's right. Yeah, not because he has to. Yeah.
You're still feeling comfortable and enjoying having the baton for now?
Yeah, it's actually, it's not about me either but from a personal point of view, I didn't sort of get to say goodbye to senior coaching. You know, when you get cut off at the knees, and then you don't get that opportunity. This is for me is sort of a little bit of, I might never coach again, and this is something that I know it's coming to an end, and I can see it in front of me. I don't know if it's this next week or at the end of the year, but at least I just get to sort of say goodbye to it in some capacity. Yeah.
The Japanese waddles, are they waiting for you to plant?
No Japanese waddles, but there's Japanese maples. Yeah. I think the family, I better hurry up because there's a few in the ground. I think they're going to go hungry if we're going to just live off that for a while. But that's been great for me to do something where, when I finished up, I could free my mind up, think about something different than footy, just be outdoors, and so that side of it I've enjoyed.